Hello and welcome to the show. Listen, I'm so glad that you could join us today. You know, we've got a great show planned for you as always. I said this year is about being intentional. I tell you, I want you to make sure that whatever God has purposed in your life, that you think about doing it and doing it with intention, because that's what God wants us to do. He's given us so many gifts and talents, and we've got to remember that every time we step out, every time we make a move, that somebody's watching us, somebody's looking at us, but more importantly, God is watching us. And so be intentional about everything that you're doing in your life. And I always say, make sure you pray. You know, this month has been March. We're ending March. It is Women's History Month, but we continue to celebrate women all year long. And we've had some phenomenal women on the show. And one phenomenal woman that's going to end the series on the Tammy Show is none other than Dr. Emelia Timpo. She is an author, a speaker, and just an incredible and amazing woman. And she wrote the book, Perseverance, One Woman's Journey from Ghana to the United States and beyond. And I tell you what, it's a fabulous book. It has humor, stories, and just a story about a wonderful woman who came here from Ghana. And so you're going to get an opportunity to meet her. And so I just want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy, because it's coming up next.
The Cecil Williams South Carolina Civil Rights Museum is the Palmetto State's first and only museum. It honors a generation of people, black and white, throughout the state of South Carolina who deserve to be remembered for their unselfish commitments and sacrifices. Enjoy an immersive and entertaining virtual tour. For more information, visit www.cecilwilliams.com.
Hello, everybody. It's Finkley of The Michael Finkley Show, and you're watching Gold right now. Why? You're watching The Tammy Show. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the show. I always want to thank our wonderful supporter, Dr. Michael Finkley, Grammy Award nominee. Thank you so much, Michael, for being so supportive. I told you we've got a great show planned for you. I'm going to introduce you to this beautiful woman. She's hailing from Ghana. She's hailed from Ghana, lives in the United States now, devoted mother to 3 wonderful daughters. And, you know, when we talk about a wonderful leader, she's a seasoned developer, expert that brings a wealth of experience in HIV/AIDS, in agriculture, and education, gender and education policies. She has over 17 years of leadership experience with the United Nations, and she holds a PhD from Rutgers and other degrees from Cornell and New York University. But when I tell you, when you speak with her, she's such a wonderful person to speak with, a breath of fresh air. And when I tell you this is a remarkable woman, I want you to meet her. So come on out, Dr. Emelia Timpo.
Hi, hello, Tammy. Very nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
It is such a pleasure to see you, and thank you for being on the Tammy Show. You know, Dr. Timpo, and may I call you Emelia?
Emelia is perfect. Emelia is just perfect,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
Wonderful. Amelia, when we first spoke, and I want to thank Claudette, our dear friend, for introducing us. And when we first spoke, I just love, first of all, I love your accent. Number one, I love to hear you speak. That's one. But number two, your kindness and how welcoming you were and inviting you were to me. I want to thank you for that. And so, again, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. It's such a real pleasure. I'm delighted to be here and can't thank you enough for this opportunity, really.
Oh, thank you. This is my pleasure. Well, Dr. Amelia, let's get into it. When people see you, and I always ask, this is the first question I ask every guest, because sometimes we don't get an opportunity to let people know who we really are. So I'm going to ask you that question. Somebody sees you, they see you on the street, they say, oh, there's Dr. Emelia Timpo. Who are you?
Oh, I'm a Ghanaian at heart, truly. Ghanaian at heart, born and raised in Ghana. I'm a mother of 3 wonderful daughters. I like to think I'm a friend to lots of people. I just love to have people around me. I am one interested in learning, interested in different cultures. I love to travel. I'm a people person through and through, raised by women and always looking for women to be around me.
That's right. And reading your book, you talk about the women in your life, your grandmother, your aunts, and everyone in your life. What was your defining moment that when you decided to write this book?
Most people ask me, Emelia, where have you been? What have you done? And when they hear my story, they always say it's very unusual. It's truly unusual in a lot of ways. And my husband would always say, I'm the first woman with a PhD in plant physiology who is working on HIV and AIDS. My boss, Peter Piot from UNH, used to say the same thing because HIV was the domain of medical staff. So I always felt I had something interesting to tell. But I think it was COVID that did it for me. I had time on my hands and I said, why not? So I slowly started writing a page at a time, and here we are, the book is done. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so, Willie, I want us to show the book. It is Perseverance, One Woman's Journey from Ghana to the United States and Beyond. And how did you, Amelia, come up with that title when you say One Journey from Ghana to the United Nations and Beyond? How did you come up with that title?
Mm-hmm. I think perseverance has been a theme throughout my life. When people hear where I've been, what I'm doing, it's always assumed that it's been an easy road, that everything has been well planned and it just went according to plan. But the reality was very different, I got a C grade in physics in A level, which of course, then I couldn't get into medical school. I needed to do something else. I came to the US, struggled to get a job. I had a PhD and I couldn't get a job. I ended up working as a secretary. Who would have thought that I would be working as a secretary in AT&T? But I kept going. I branched from my PhD to go learn computer science. Ended up, getting some clerical jobs, so it's been a challenge along the way, even getting to the United Nations. I applied and applied and applied, but I never gave up. Luckily
Right.
I was able to get
No,
work.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, I was able to get work in the Department of Higher Education, and was laid off when we had a new governor, Kristen Whitman, and branched off, so it's been a very diverse ways of getting to where I am. And it hasn't been an easy road, but I always manage to, get myself up and move in different directions. Yeah.
And when you talk about that, Amelia, it reminds me so much of being intentional, because you were intentional about making sure that you were going to get to the point where you are now. You were intentional about going to the United Nations and continuing to be a leader there. You were intentional about getting your PhD. And so all of that ties in with being with persevering in your life. You know, and when I hear that word, it just means to me that you just keep pushing. You know, you don't stop, you keep pushing. And with faith, you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because without faith, you wouldn't have been able to do a lot of this. Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely. I mean, the good Lord has been with me every step of the way, truly. It just would not have been possible without him. And
Yeah.
I grew up also knowing that, I mean, failure was never an option. You know, I just have to keep going. I have to look up to people, learn from others, you know, count on other people for support when I needed it, you know. But once I get going, knowing that there's a good Lord watching over me, there was nothing that I couldn't do. I had to do the hard
And
work.
right, that's right. And so what was your biggest dream as a child growing up? What was your biggest dream?
I always wanted to be a doctor. I always wanted to be a doctor because growing up in Ghana, you know, it's like you are a doctor, either a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Those were the three key disciplines that everybody was striving to be, you know. And my mother was a midwife, so the health industry was already, you know, familiar to me. And yeah, always wanted to be a
Yeah.
doctor.
Yes, yes, I know. Your mother being in the health field really made you want to go into that, and I'm pretty sure you helped your mother and all with her being a midwife. Did she let you help her? And I think I read that she did.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You know, taking care of the babies, you know, cleaning the
Yes,
wards. Yeah, cooking for the
yes,
babies and the
yes,
mothers. Yes, absolutely. You
yes,
can't just
yes.
sit home doing nothing. You have to help at home. Absolutely.
That's right. So when we talk about, you know, the early parts of your book, talk about the inspiration that your grandmother and your aunts, what they did to really help you and instill in you. What were some of the things that you learned from them? Some of the lessons you learned from them?
Yeah, you know, my grandmother would always tell us that knowledge is not in one person's head. You know, you know something, but you are not the only one with the information. You are not the only one with knowledge, and you have to learn to ask. You have to learn to reach out. You have to be able to learn from others. Be open and broaden your mind to know that there's so much out there that you can learn. And for me, I think with that, I reached out to mentors wherever I was. You know, I have mentors who have held my hands from the beginning and are still holding my hand even now. Um, you know, the sense of community was instilled in me from a very, very early age. The importance of religion and God, you know, being part of the faith community, you know, with staunch Methodist church members. My grandmother was a leader. My mom was a leader in the church. You know, community was critical. And I think those are lessons I've learned along the way.
Right. And so talking about lessons, Amelia, what are some of those lessons? Because you've got three beautiful daughters. What
Mhm.
are some of those lessons that you learned that you have passed on to your daughters?
Oh, they will tell you, Mom, you know, they really believe in the importance of hard work. They believe in importance of, you know, reaching out to others. They believe in believing in themselves, you know, because each of us is very individual. You know, they are very different. That all three of them are very different in their own way and doing very well in different ways. You know, so the importance of believing in yourself, the importance of knowing that there's nothing out there that you cannot do with the, you know, right mindset, with the right support, reaching out to get help, and building on yourself, and also knowing you have to always look back. We have this saying called sankofa. You know, you have to always look back. look to history and learn from it, because that is the only way you can move forward. And I know my girls have picked up on that readily. Yeah.
Yeah, Sankofa. Yes, yes, yes. And so when we talk about the aspects of your book, I want you to tell me what's your favorite chapter.
I think one of the interesting parts was the first time I came to the United States, and I came on this program that was sponsored by the Rotary Club, and I lived with 5 families in Jezebel, Illinois, which is southern Illinois. I didn't know anything. The roads, the food, these were farmers. A number of them were university professors, and getting to learn the culture and the way the education system works in the US, and getting to know the different kinds of people, it was incredible. And I was, because Ghana is a very agricultural country. So to see, like just a couple managing a farm with acres and acres of land, that was fascinating because we're doing the whole and the cutlass business. Here you have tractors, covering whole acres in a day. That was I found it very amazing, really.
Yes, yeah. And so, having said that, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, Emelia, we're going to talk more about challenges. And I want you to kind of speak to the women, because women now need to have mentors, as you said, and they need to really understand what it is to go after what it is that you want. And so I want you to stick with us, and we'll be right back. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The Orangeburg County Conference Center supports downtown Orangeburg and our surrounding communities. The 6,000 plus square foot space is ideal for groups of up to 400 people attending corporate meetings, conventions, workshops, and special events. Conference Center staff are inspired to ensure that everyone can enjoy the modern amenities. State-of-the-art ballroom that accommodates up to 400 guests banquet style and 430 guests theater style. A warming kitchen with hot boxes, ice machine, refrigerator, freezer, and counter space. A lobby that accommodates 150 guests with special events outdoors. The comfortable outdoor amphitheater has a video wall and seating. Adjacent to the amphitheater is 12,000 plus square feet of green space that extends events outside, plus complimentary on-site event parking and additional parking across the street. Your event can take place all in one spectacular location. We welcome your special event in Orangeburg.
Hey, you're watching The Tammy Show. And remember to keep it cool with me, AC.
Welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, I've been talking with Dr. Emelia Timpo, author of Perseverance, One Woman's Journey from Ghana to the United States and Beyond. Dr. Emelia, thank you so much again for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, ma'am. We left off with you talking about those lessons that you learned, about your favorite part of the book. And we talked about your favorite part of the book. And then what I want to find out from you is, at one point or another, you talk about reinventing yourself. Can you kind of tell about that part of yourself, reinventing yourself?
Yeah, I think there are key lessons from my life, especially for women, navigating family and work, the challenges of making decisions about career goals and raising children, ensuring that, they are doing well in school, engaging in their education in a very constructive way to make sure that they are on course to graduate and be in the programs they want to be in college. Looking at opportunities in career, what are the career goals that you have for yourself, and being flexible to adapt due to changing environment. Like I kind of adapted in so many different ways. If you're doing well in one area, there's no reason why you have to stay in one area because that's what you studied in school, because each discipline has so many dimensions that you could branch off. And if there's an interest in a particular area, continue to go to community college and pick up a different skill so you advance yourself. You could do so much. So if there's a message from my experience, it's more like broadening our horizons, looking to realize that there's really no end to where you can go, and not pigeonholing yourself. It's also important to kind of be able to learn from different cultures. Here in the US, there's a lot out here, but what is here in the US is not all there is in the world, and the importance of broadening our horizon, to the different cultures around the communities we live in, even here in the US, is very important. Learn from each other, get engaged in different societies, and know that the challenges are going to come. The challenges are going to come, but you have to look for opportunities to move beyond the challenge, in ways that is possible for whoever, I think.
That's right. And Emelia, as you're talking about challenges, that was my next question. What are some of the challenges that you faced in writing your book, number one, but number two, talking about being in the United States? What were some of those challenges?
Yeah, I think, when I first came, and I came to, back again to do my master's at Cornell, for me, everything seemed okay. But I think the major challenge came when I had my master's and I had my PhD and I couldn't get a job. It just dawned on me that a lot of what was happening was around race and gender. Because I was a woman, because I was coming from Ghana, because I really had not had the experience most people have had here, born and raised here. That was an issue. So it took me a bit of time to understand the racial dimension of things that go on here in the US. But once I understood it, it was not going to deter me, because for me, I'm Emelia, and that is what mattered most. There was nothing that, nobody was going to pigeonhole me onto anything. I was going to do what I needed to do, and race or gender or creed or whatever was not going to deter me from moving forward. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Dr. Emelia, you said there was nothing that was going to stop you. And I think that's the attitude that we have to have. I want to ask you this question. What have you learned from yourself over the years? What is it that you've learned about yourself that you want to share with us?
I think for me, it's important to be humble, to be humble and to be open, because honestly, everywhere you look, everybody is just like you. I've just moved to South Carolina barely a year ago. I moved here knowing nobody, but I can tell you the community I have right now in Somerville, I couldn't rave enough about it. Everybody's embraced me as family. We've all come from so many different places, very different cultures, different backgrounds, and we've created a community here for us. So if there's a lesson for me, we just have to embrace each other. We have to accept our differences and know that the differences are what enriches each and every one of us. Yeah. I think we have to be more open.
Wow.
We have to listen to each other more, and we just have to know that each of us is created in God's image. And that's an important part nobody can take away from us.
That's right. Dr. Emilio, I would love to continue to talk with you and really talk about your experience from Ghana to the United States. But we are running out of time. But we're going to have you come back another time as well, because I know there's some information that you can share with our viewers, especially our women viewers, and especially women who have moved from other countries. Because I love what you said about learning different cultures. And I've traveled, I've had the opportunity and been fortunate enough to travel around some parts of the other world where I've seen different cultures. And it's important for us to be able to do that, because now you become a well-rounded person. And not only that, you become compassionate about how people move in different spaces. So my question to you is, what's next for Emelia Timpo?
Now I have my travel business, and I'm helping people travel all over the world. I just came back from Uzbekistan. Can you believe it? I want people to travel. I want people to move out. I want people to experience different places and cultures. There's a whole world out there, and I think that's really now one of the key things I'm focusing on. And I think I would do another book also down the road. I'm thinking about it.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, I'm going to have you on the show when you come out with that next book. I'm looking forward to that. Dr. Emilio, what are 3 words that describe you?
Oh, wow. 3 words. I think hope, faith, and love. Yeah.
Hope, faith, and love.
I'm very hopeful. I'm always very hopeful. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. If folks want to get your book, they can go to your website, because you can buy it on Amazon. And again, thank you so much for sending the book. I enjoyed reading it, and thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. EmeliaTimpo.com. That's your website. Am I correct in saying that?
Exactly. EmeliaTimpo.com.
Yes.
Get it on Amazon as well. Thank you so very much,
right.
Tammy. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Big hugs, Dr. Emelia Timpo. Thank you. It was such a pleasure. Yes. Okay. Take care. We want to thank Claudette as well. So thank you again, Dr. Emelia Timpo, and you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much. You too. Take care. We'll be in touch.
Yes, very much so. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, folks, you heard it right here. Dr. Emelia Timpo, www.emeliatimpo.com, where you can purchase her book. I want to thank Dr. Timpo again for joining us. What an inspiring story, moving from Ghana to the United States and receiving a PhD from Rutgers and all these other degrees from Cornell and New York University. Tell you, that's an inspiring story. You got to get the book and read it. Perseverance, one woman's journey to the United States and beyond, from Ghana to the United States and beyond. It's all about persevering. I want to thank you, viewers, for always tuning into Tammy right here on our YouTube channel. Next week, okay, we've got a show planned for you, but now it's not your usual show. It's Talk with Tammy. So you get to send in questions, and you're going to see that on my IG page, Facebook page, and all, where you can send in questions, and I'll take those questions and answer those questions as well. I want to say special thanks to, of course, my senior producer, Willie, producer Alicia, and special thanks to T-Vision Broadcasting Network. And thank you for the Dream Studio. I tell you what, more power to the Dream Studio and to T-Vision Broadcasting Network. Thank you again. Remember, please subscribe to the Tammy TV show. All you have to do is hit the red subscribe button. It will notify you when the show is coming on. And remember, let's be a blessing to somebody today and every day. I can't stress that enough. Call that person up on the phone. Life is too short. If there's someone out there that you need to say, I'm sorry, or just say, I love you, do that, because life is too short. Be a blessing to somebody today and every day. Until the next time, take care of yourself. Have a wonderful week. Love you much. Bye-bye.